You only get one shot. Are they going to click on that and look more at the listing, or are they going to move on?
Real Estate Radio Boston with loan officer Rick Shearer of Guaranteed Rate.
If you are dealing with someone that doesn't understand those micro markets, you're going to be steered completely in the wrong direction.
And legal professional Ali Alavi of Alavi Braza PC.
It's a transaction for us, but it's someone's home.
The biggest anxiety I felt, am I going to get the mortgage?
It all breaks down to communication.
Real Estate Radio Boston gives you the information you need to succeed in today's housing market.
Just agree on something?
Yeah, we actually did. Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
You're giving me this blank stare.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. But
you left his lawyer out.
He's handsome too.
Rick Shearer, NMLS ID 454910. This is Real Estate Radio Boston.
Bill, it's worth noting, saying that a lot of the clients that we service, they're planning on carrying out some short-term renovations. And one of the things that I always warn my clients is don't start those renovations until you've got your energy efficiency audit done. Because once you start the renovations, you may actually not be able to take advantage of those incentives. Can you spend a couple minutes educating the listeners on that?
Well, it depends. If you're going to be adding on to a home, you have to, under new codes now, the insulation levels have to be brought up to code, which is what we're trying to get the older properties.
Sure.
So you may not qualify for something like that.
Right.
But whenever you're going to do any type of renovations, updating your heating system, water heaters, windows, anything, have an assessment first so that you can see just what can I participate in, what will I qualify for, how can I take advantage of this program? And as I said, you get a specialized report from a specialist in your home to tell you exactly what you need to do.
What incentive does an investor have out there to be able to carry out the suggestions that Mass Save may have?
Well, a number of things. Some investors, the tenants are only responsible for the electric bill, and the landlord, the property owner, is responsible for the heating bill.
Exactly.
There are a lot of heating systems that need to be updated. You can get up to $3,500 to update a heating system. You'll get programmable thermostats put in. Adding insulation will also save on your heating costs. The financing is available to help you pay for that.
Let's chat about that. Let's talk about the financing aspect of it. What type of programs are available?
It's a heat loan. We work with, there's a list on masssave.com of all the lenders throughout Massachusetts. It's a 0% financing loan. You have up to 7 years to pay for it. So let's say you're putting in a heating system and it's $8,000 and you're getting a high efficiency system, so we're able to give you $3,500 towards that. The final $5,000 or so that you need to get a loan on, sometimes the savings per month on your heating bill cover the cost of financing that loan. Wow. So it's worthwhile to look into.
And again,
we always talk about how getting control of your energy costs, becoming more energy efficient is the number one way to get control of your energy costs and start saving money. It doesn't matter what size home it is. It could be a mansion. It could be a one-bedroom apartment that you're in. Change the incandescent bulbs out to LEDs. Maybe use smart strips, programmable thermostat. All of these steps will start saving you on your energy and saving you dollars.
Bill,
there are landlords out there that own commercial properties, and those commercial properties could technically be used for either dispensaries or growing of marijuana, and you offer advice and you offer safeguards on how to be able to limit a particular landlord's liability. What are some of the suggestions that you have for those landlords?
There are a number of lease clauses that we recommend. One of them in particular is what we call an escape clause, an early termination clause. So if the tenant is violating the law as it relates to marijuana, or if there is a threat by the federal government of a seizure or a nuisance claim, you might be able to terminate the lease early so you can turn around to the federal government and say, I'm doing what I can to end this supposed illegal activity.
I like the use of the word might be able to end it, because it has not yet been challenged, I'm assuming, right? Or has it been?
Not that I'm aware of.
Exactly. I'm not aware of it being challenged either. So you can add, or at least you can show good faith as a landlord that you're taking the requisite steps to follow the federal law.
Correct. But there are also other problems. You can't take possession of the marijuana. So when you take possession of your property, what do you do? So you need clauses in there that mandate that the tenant dispose of everything properly in accordance with state law.
One of the interesting suggestions that you had is to make sure that you have a very narrow and restrictive definition of the use of the subject property. Spend a couple seconds on that.
Well, what you want them to do is really comply with the state law. Whatever the state law mandates, make them comply with that so that there isn't use on the premises. There's no sales to minors. Make sure that it's very clear what they can and cannot do.
In order to be able to fall in line with the state law.
Fall in line with the state law and try to put yourself in a position where if the federal authorities come in again, you can say that you're following the state law.
Okay, so essentially, you're adding tools to a particular lease, a governing document that you're entering between you and your tenant that allows you the ability to terminate the lease early, get out of the lease with the tenant, and not jeopardize your property.
That's the idea.
That's
exactly.
the idea.
Yes.
Exactly. At the intro, we were talking about how some of our geographical areas may be recession-proof, and I noticed you kept nodding when we were talking about that. Do you agree that the towns that you service are recession-proof? What makes them recession-proof?
I really, truly feel the closest to Boston, towns surrounding Boston, even back in 06, 07, they really didn't suffer the way, say, towns closest to Rhode Island or to Springfield, even north. They just didn't have the same amount of depreciation and honestly just timing, just the amount of time.
And I would say that that's probably associated with who occupies those towns. We have a combination of really cool things happening here. I mean, we've got the third largest biotech hub in the world. Literally in the world is in our backyard in Cambridge. You're talking about financial institutions. You're talking about health care and hospitals, and you talk about massive educational systems that are in place that draw people here. And I think the combinations of all those individuals that service those industries makes this area recession-proof. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And people are now also wanting to be closer to the city, whereas before they chose to go further out with quiet suburbs. That's not necessarily the case anymore. They want environments where they can feel like they're in Boston without paying for Boston.
Right. There's a dual market where the sellers have the upper hand, but then there's a shift where now it's a buyer's market. Let's talk about Westwood. Where is that shift? Where are you seeing the homes stay on the market longer? Really more negotiation power for that client.
I would say around 1.5 million and above. And that's been the way it's been probably for about 18 months. We've seen it. And I know that has a lot to do with who's buying those homes, number one, how that's shifted. Number one, meaning that they come in from the city. A lot of the market is being made by young families coming in from the city of Boston once they have their first or second child. So they're not necessarily having to live in Westwood. They can now look in Lexington. They can look in Needham. They can look in all of these other towns. So that's number one, the competition factor. Number two is there's so much new construction being built in other competing towns as well that if you have a house that's perhaps 27 years old and is nice, good condition, but not new, the buyers
because no one's looking to do your projects for you.
That's